gentlemen, I'd like to introduce to you the co-conspirator of the brand new feature film, Hang Loose, which we can announce today to you, our press friends, will be distributed through streaming media December 2012. So with that, please welcome the co-star and the producer, Dante Basco.
Thank you so much for waiting. We had a long line down there, but we got through everybody. That's kind of cool, you know. I'm proud of that. Questions? Do you need this? Don't need this.
Microphone checking.
It's a small room. I got a big voice.
Yeah.
Yes.
So was Hook the film that started you out?
Hook was definitely, the thing where I'm always credited by being founded by Steven Spielberg, and I was 15, and definitely when you do a film of that nature, one of the big A-list, big budget films, like the biggest film in town at the time, it definitely jumps off your career and really sets you up for the future, which is great. But in all honesty, in all reality, I started acting when I was 10. I came to LA from San Francisco when I was 10, and I was a working actor for those first 5 years of my life. It was like Perfect Weapon, and doing a lot of stuff on television, so it wasn't my first film, but it was my first really big kind of like introduction to Hollywood.
Yes, I want to talk to you, ask about the movie, The Debut.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, you beat me to it.
Oh, you do?
Sure.
Yeah. Alright, I want to ask that now, okay, even though it came out a long time ago, it is still shown in a lot of places, mostly in universities, as part of the Asian American culture study.
Yes.
And knowing that, how do you feel about your accomplishment, rather, or your involvement in Debut?
I'm so proud of that film. At that time, I was probably 20, I don't know. It was like I was an adult in that film. And like I said, I've been acting since I was 10, and I'm Filipino American. And that was the first time actually I've ever got to play Filipino in a film, and it was a very a thing that I'm very proud of for myself and also for the community about doing that film. Now that I have my partners in my own production company, we are looking forward to doing a sequel in the future to that, because we need to keep, we need to continue the evolution of that story, but also just Asian American cinema and telling our stories.
Yeah, and I also want you to know that the Debut was part of a mandated curriculum at the Cal State Fullerton, where I was studying. Part of my
so
class.
You study me. I didn't go to college, so it's good to know that some stuff I've done is in college. Yes.
On that movie, what was it like working with Eddie Garcia? Because he's huge in the Philippines, and
Eddie Garcia is great. The irony is Eddie Garcia was his first time in America.
really?
Yeah, that was his first time in America doing that film, and it kind of blew all of our minds. Like, you've never been to America? Like, you've never... And of course, first time acting in America, and so working with a star of that stature in our home country was great. It just seemed like that was a perfect storm of what we were doing, Filipino American culture going on, and also the stars of the Filipino culture coming together for this this story. Which I think there's more of the story to tell. Yes.
Well, I noticed that in the video game industry, it's becoming as bigger as either as animation or film itself. Will you take an interest in doing voice acting for video games, or?
Yeah, I have done a few video games, some MMORPGs. I'm not a big gamer, but I'm learning as I go along. And there is an involvement that I have with video game coming up. So I can't really talk about it right now, but there's things coming on. There's things going on within the video game world that I'm involved in. Yes.
What was it like working with Robin Williams, and can you recall any memorable moments from the Hook set?
Yes, Robin is amazing. He's, was definitely a mentor type in my life at that time, and just looked up to him. He's the kind of actor, he's obviously just one of the greatest improv actors of all time with energy. He kept the morale of the set going for the 8-month shoot. But, on the one-on-one time when we would just hang out in the trailers talking and just going over lines and whatnot, he's very soft-spoken and very, introspective. And one of my favorite films that I told him on the first day of meeting him is Dead Poets Society, which one of the things that had made me become a poet at a young age. And he loved that, and so we would talk about a lot of poets, and he'd expose me to so many great poets. We talked about, of course, all the older great poets, or even like the ones like Bukowski and of course the Transcendentalist poets. And on the last day of filming, he gave me a leather-bound book of Leaves of Grass, Walt Whitman, and signed it to me. It's like one of those kind of special things, like we beyond Hook and whatnot, just that we shared poetry together.
You were a child actor at the time, so I'm kind of curious with me taking film production and production management. But what was it? I know their laws are a lot stricter with child actors.
Yeah. Well, there's unions. Our union kind of makes sure that the child labor laws are being adhered to, which is you have a shorter work day. You only, depending on your age, you can work a certain amount of hours, and you also have a certain amount of school.
And you have to have a teacher on
set
too.
And and I came up during the 80s and 90s, so most of the time all those rules were adhered to. But sometimes you get in certain sets, and we're all being paid to do the work, and we're all seen as adult actors to a certain degree. I mean, a lot of times things happen where you're like, look, we just gotta get this movie done, and we all kind of pitch in, even the kids too, to get the project done.
So, what was it like transitioning from being actor to producer as well?
I'm still transitioning.
Okay,
it's hard. The thing about it is, it's not hard. It comes to a point where my life where, I've been a part of so many great stories and been characters in so many other people's stories that there became a time in my life where I also want to be the part of myself or part of the team that gets to tell some stories, whether it be from the Asian American perspective or just a story in general. It's pretty fluid transition as far as I've always been a writer, so moving into writing is great. Hang Loose, our first film, I co-wrote the film with Kev Jumba and Benjamin Arthur, another one of our writers. So that's great, and then also being a part of a creative team as a producer to just help bring not only this film but also with the whole company Kinetic Films, where I really wanted to put together a company that will cater to an underrepresented community in the mainstream, which is the Asian American Pacific Islander community. And we have all these great films that come from overseas, whether it be Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, or all the films from Korea, the horror films from Japan, and they're great, but they don't necessarily tell or help the story of the Asian Americans that were born and raised here. And we're like, as great as those films are and as critical acclaim as that is, it doesn't really impact the pop culture in America from our perspective. And so my point of view was, let's create a company where we can tell these stories. I have a lot of friends that are like myself, working actors, and have a certain amount of celebrity status within the mainstream media that don't get to play the roles they want to play, and I'm interested in creating those scripts or getting those scripts and letting them play those roles and not just be the villain or not just be the best friend, but also be the romantic lead in the film. And then at the same token, reaching out to our new the new generation, the Kev Jumbas, Ryan Higas, all these big YouTube kids that are generating so much stuff online, and helping to cultivate them helping to cultivate the next generation. AJ Raphael going, this is how we make movies. These are scripts. Let's just create product. Let's work with let's put me with Kev Jumba. Let's do a film together. And there's so much that we can learn from your generation, and there's so much our generation that your generation can learn from our generation. So it's just one of these things. If we can really make this happen, really find a self-sustainable model with Kinetic Films, and be a part of the whole Asian American movement, which is happening right now. Yes, question?
Going off of that note, what do you, as an Asian American, or rather a non-Caucasian actor, what do you think is the reason why Hollywood fears seriously producing a work that focuses on an Asian American hero?
The thing about it is, for a lot of years we've been in a lot of conversations about it, and it's racism or it's this or that, and I don't really think it's that per se. What Hollywood is, quote unquote Hollywood, is it's a business. And so, like any business, they're just going where the numbers are at. And because Asian America hasn't proven itself as a monetary, quantifiable product to sell to, they're not going to put big money behind it. That also leads our company going, if we can show them for greater or lesser what the Asian American market does, then it becomes more of a market where they will cater to it more. At this point, Asian Americans, I was in a PR meeting a few years back for a film, and we were talking about promoting to the Asian American audience, to a PR company, and they go, this is maybe 6-7 years back, and they go, well, we don't promote to the Asian American audience. And you're like, what? This is an Asian American film. And they said, well, this is the deal. Asian America is, is quote unquote the model minority. They live in the neighborhoods they want to live in. As a broad stroke, they drive the cars they want to drive. Their kids go to the schools they want to go to. Whatever we sell to quote unquote white America, Caucasian America, mainstream America, Asian Americans buying it. We already have Asian America. Why would we spend $1 extra when we're already getting their money? Which is, as a business standpoint, as a businessman, you go, I totally agree. Why would I spend an extra $1 for something that I'm already getting? So it doesn't behoove them to create that. It behooves our own community to create this for ourselves, and we're a part of the American story. We're a part of this fabric of what America is, and it's on us to cultivate our own voice within what's going on. And it's not an anti what's going on in the mainstream. It's an inclusion of these are also stories. These are also characters that we can play, and it's really on us to do it for us. It's I think part of the mindset of a lot of us coming up when the debut was made. When a lot of films came out that year. Better Luck Tomorrow, debut. Flip Side. A lot of Asian American films came out, and I think as a group of filmmakers at that time, we thought, we're going to get co-opted by Hollywood. Hollywood's going to say how cool it is to be Asian American, and then they're just going to start making Asian American films. That didn't happen. So that's not what's going to happen. What's going to happen is it's us making films for us, by us to a certain degree, and if the numbers show, and if it's not, it'll spread. It's like African American filmmaking. It's like Latino filmmaking. It's you do some stuff and you make it for the community. And if you do 4 or 5 films a year, if we did a film a year since debut was over a decade ago, we'd have 10 films. We wouldn't be the only production company doing it. 2 or 3 films, you have a half dozen films more, and out of those, 1 or 2 of those are going to be really, really good and maybe cross over. And beyond that, you'd also be able to have something for the Asian American audience to watch on a semi-regular basis. And I think that's part of why all these Asian American stars are blowing up online, because that's where the kids of this generation can see their likeness.